Hey everyone, Sejr here. I decided to do a quick little video of another card I created with the Scrapping for Less card kit for May. And the reason I decided to redo it is because one of the cards that I did was using alcohol markers, and I had a hard time trying to create a solid background with alcohol markers. And it was recommended to give a try with inks. So color the picture with markers, but the background use inks. So I decided to take on that challenge to see if I can do it. The trickiest part, I would say, is I don't have any masking paper or any pixie spray or anything that was making it easy for me to do this. So I actually thought it would be much easier, but I still had fun doing it. It's just I can see why people purchase these items. Even I have to use masking tape, which was the only tape I had. I didn't want to waste my washi tape on this, just in case it didn't turn out anyways. And I am using Bristol cardstock, so it is a little bit stronger than regular paper. But what I did do was, for the masking tape, I rubbed it on my hands just to try to get as much stickiness out as possible. And so what you see there is I'm trying to figure out how I want to place this, because this is where I start realizing how tough this is going to be, because I can't block anything, because when I start to do the ink, I want to make sure everything is covered. So I was trying to figure out how to strategically place the tape, how to keep everything down so that it won't lift. These were all the challenging things that I came across. The colors I'm going to be using is Broken China and Mermaid something or other. Those are the only blues I think I have on hand, so I decided to use those two. And for this card, I'm actually not necessarily looking for the best coverage, because I just want to see what happens. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, because sometimes I just wanted to see what it would look like, and I was, I guess, kind of anxious. Not anxious. What's the word? Excited, I guess, to see what it would look like. And I was also having troubles trying to keep that paper from popping up. So what happens is you don't get a very harsh line. As you can see, it's kind of faded in some areas. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking that stamp, because I want to make sure that it's the stamp is going to fit in those areas that I just colored, and it was pretty good. I got a pretty good coverage. As you can see, it looked kind of faded, but it actually looks much better once you get that stamp down. The only problem with this was I then realized, how was I going to color the bushes? Because I want to color the bushes green, but how was I going to do that? Because I had cut up all the paper to create the bushes, and I threw it in the garbage. And when I tried to pull them out, I couldn't find all the pieces. I had just mangled it too much. And then what I'm doing there is I'm actually fixing up some spots, because when I was using my VersaFine Ink, I got it on my fingers and it touched the card. So I was trying to use the Broken China to remove that black smudge that was on top of her, which is above her head. But because I couldn't get the mask of the bushes, I decided to just carefully color near the sky. Try not to, yeah, see, I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to do this. I don't have the reverse, because like I said, I had chopped it all up, and yeah, wasn't in the mood to try to piece it all together again. So I'm also going to cover the bottom, and because where the tires are going to be, that's where the brown area is. So I have that covered, and I got some green, and this, I believe, is Shabby Shutter. And I'm just gluing that down just slight. It's not much glue. Just so that, because that little smokestack or smoke poof that was coming out of the engine was really popping up, and I want to make sure no green gets under there. And I'm just being very careful not to get close, or go over, sorry, that blue. There are spots that I do. It's a very, with the certain tool that I have, it wasn't the easiest task. I know that you can buy makeup brushes, I believe they're called, and they come in a variety of sizes, and that would have been very useful, very helpful in these tight little spots, but you work with what you have. I can't remember what the other green is. I've used it before. I think these are the only two greens I have as well, and just it's a little bit darker than Shabby Shutter. So there we go. Looks not too bad. You can see some white between the sky and the grass or the bush. So what I'm going to do is I see my fingers twitching. I'm going to get a black marker and I'm just going to outline the bush. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to remove the focus on the difference between the sky and the cloud or the bush. And you kind of don't see the blending of the two as much by doing that. Next, I'm going to start working on start working on the ground. So I'm going to get some antique linen, and that's what I'll use for the bottom. I'm just going to put my mask back on, get that straight edge, and then put my little scooter back down to cover the tires. And then this one's fairly simple. The masks work perfectly for this last piece. It just covers, like I just had to cover the tires and such. So I'll just do a little coating of that. And that pretty much will conclude the inking. I did miss one little spot, and I will go back over a couple times just because I was really being cautious not to go over the lines because I was very happy with that. I'm not going to show my coloring just to keep this video down, but what I'm going to do is after this is I'm going to compare from my last card video to this card. So there we go, there's the two comparisons. So the one on the right is from last card kit, and then this is the new one. You can definitely see that the inks give a much cleaner and smoother look. Of course, I have lots of room of improvement, but I definitely like using the inks better for using backgrounds. So thank you for that tip. I appreciate that, and I probably will do that from now on, just because using the inks for big backgrounds definitely is not as clean looking and nice. I'm very happy with the outcome that I have, and I have lots of room for improvement, but that's totally fine, what you expect from your first attempt on that. So now I'm just going to finish up the card. It's going to be a very basic card, just using up that awesome pattern paper from the Scrapping for Less collection, and it has a bunch of vintage stamps on it. I'm going to take some Love from Lizzie brown pinstripes, and I'm going to peel off, and I'm going to just go around every single side, and I'm going to cross them just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to, the trick is you want to fold it behind the card so that when you glue it down, that will never lift. Well, never say never, but it shouldn't lift. It'll stay nice and tight and on there. I just find that if you cut it without wrapping, it can start to lift, and then the more it starts to peel, and then it just all comes off. So I'll do that, and then I'm going to mat it onto a piece of chocolate cardstock that did come in Scrapping for Less card kit. There we go. And this all looks really nice on that vintage photo, or that vintage stamp paper. I really like that one. It actually goes well with the scooter because it looks like she's traveling the world. It's so cute. Okay. Just thinking, seeing how I want to do it. And then I glue that down. I did cut it off screen. And then I'm going to glue that down, and I'll put that right near the top with a little bit of a border because I'm going to also use the alphabet letters from the card kit. I actually decided to go with Explore. That's what I'll put down, but as the camera was rolling, I was talking to my partner what we should put on this, and went back and forth with a few choices, and then I realized, or like I said, it's a group effort. We both realized that Explore was perfect because it went right across the whole thing. So that is my card for today. I do hope you enjoyed watching this with me. Definitely a lot of fun working with inks to create backgrounds instead of using your alcohol markers. And if this has created any inspiration for you, that's awesome. I'm glad that you joined me, and I hope you guys have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.